Day 2 of Henley Royal Regatta, and all the losing crews from yesterday will have spent last night wondering all those what-if questions. Not so for the winners, of course, through to today, and hoping for another classic day of Henley racing out on the Thames under what they might have thought was going to be beautiful blue and sunlit skies. That, of course, was not to be. This was going to be a cold, wet and windy start to the day, and a real test.
The power off the start. Molsy Boat Club to the right of your picture on the buck station. And on the bark station, a steady start from their opponents in this one, the Tideway Sculls School. Both of these clubs have had good success in the regatta already. They've looked well organised and dominant forces so far. You've got the Tideway Sculls School.
Good success and strong start to the regatta from both of these, as you say. Molsy there just getting to the end of the island first, but at the moment they're not just quite in their rhythm, they're not quite picking up the water as I'd like them to see. I'd love to see that transition happen in a couple of strokes. Looking across, Sculls down a little bit, but picking up that water well in that other boat on the top. And Sculls there, they've had a fantastic time actually in that part of the race. We saw some of the crews bow ball to bow ball side by side at the last marker. Sculls now, I would say, have got 3/4 of a length lead. That huge experience that they do have at club level, and looking at the 3/4 mile signal, you can see it's signalling that number one is ahead there, and that huge experience they have at the back. You'll see them just talking to each other.
Stroke seat. It's Murray Wilcox.
So looking at this boat here, we can see that it is a Latimer upper boat, so it looks like Sculls have had to borrow this boat. I wonder whether maybe they don't have one in their large squad that they have, or perhaps they had a breakage in their boat and they've had to shift craft. But we can see that from the Molsy the Sculls men are making good progress in that Latimer upper boat. This is side-by-side racing. We are coming down past the enclosures. They've come down this course, just jockeying the lead along the line, just pushing away. Sculls got themselves ahead, but Molsy are still in it.
Yeah, they've responded well, the Sculls, because they came under threat there, big time. And they had to produce a push at the crucial stage, and they've produced a push that's given them more than a length's lead. That was remarkable in a very short space of time. They switched gears. They've got a length lead now, actually. Molsy Boat Club giving it a go right to the end here and trying to push back on Tideway Sculls. It's a good race, or a very good race, very competitive all the way down the water, and it'll be not much more than the length, the margin of victory. Tideway Sculls School over the line, and it is 3/4 of a length victory over Molsy Boat Club.
The umpires' launches at Henley leave at a very prescribed minute, because at Henley Royal Regatta, timing is everything, both for the umpires' launches and the racing crews. This race is a classic example of tactical timing. It's Hartpury versus Wallingford.
Keeping a close eye on this start.
Looking good, really tight, both crews there, great line, well done to them. Not easy, we see that with so many of the crews, doing a good job.
Very good job, yeah. Really clean start from both of those boats. And further down the water, that's what you get, you see. If both boats start well, there's not much in it there, is it? This is going to be nip and tuck.
It's a great race, really tight, isn't it, with both of them? You can see they're both really settled into strong rhythms, and it's now just fine margins, making sure as the fatigue kicks in, that you don't shorten up at all, that you're staying strong in your core, you're keeping your length. We can say just a little bit more length in the crew on the near side as we look at the camera.
Yeah, Wallingford Rowing Club there, half a length, maybe 3/4 of a length clear. Just put a push together, haven't they? They've had a little spurt of power to try and seize the initiative again, and I think they've done that quite successfully. Wallingford Rowing Club in the red that you can see. They are being told to get back to their side of the water, though, by the umpire. He's raised that white flag again. He's going to have another pop at Wallingford, get them back onto their side of the water. Well, this is a hot race, and the effort is required by both boats, because it still hangs in the balance. I think Wallingford Rowing Club will be increasingly confident as they head towards the line and the track runs out. But Hartpury College offers some stiff opposition here.
They're going to keep pushing. Hartpury got fantastic facilities. They work with Gloucester Rowing Club and the GB Start programme. They're going to keep pushing. They're going to keep trying. Look at them. They're raising the rate. They're really taking it to Wallingford.
Yeah, they are hammering along, but I think Wallingford will have enough in the tank here. They've timed the race well. It's a good race, so a really good race. Hartpury College have kept Wallingford very keen, and that's a half-length victory for Wallingford Rowing Club. Terrific race, that really good. Hartpury College deserve lots of credit for their part in it. Forley, Wallingford progress.
It's not often at Henley Royal Regatta where you can find a place where you are genuinely on your own. Almost the easiest example is to enter one of the single sculls competitions and go out there and race. And at that point, you are going to need lots of things, mental agility being one of them. This is Young and Wilkinson in the first round of the Diamond Challenge Sculls.
The start is the only difference between them. The last 1,200 metres have pretty much been the same speed.
And he's closing it down, isn't he? He's got two-thirds of a length there now to the Cambridge 99 Sculler.
Here's the question. You want to cross the line first, but you win the race at some other point in the race. At what point do you win the race? You're getting ahead. And it's quite a long way to go still in the single. If you are half a length down now, do you go now and just throw it all in, or do you bide your time?
It's a difficult decision to mull over, isn't it? You know, I think the rating is probably just helping Tim a little bit. You know, he's just putting a bit more, and that could be sort of taking the final sprint out of him a little bit. But we can see them approaching the commentary box now, so they're not too far away from the finish line. And this is going to get close. This would be now the time to really put it all in. You wouldn't want to leave it too long.
The rate's going up again. He's really attacking this last bit now. This is going to be a good finish.
So last time they met, William Young won and beat Tim and came third at Met. But this is looking close.
I wouldn't call this. This looks like Wilkinson might be slightly ahead as they come into the line, and it's a win, having been half a length down for the whole race. Wilkinson from Greenbank Falmouth comes through to win by 3 feet on the line.
Great grit and determination from Wilkinson there. Now, with 3 new women's events debuting at Henley 2021, could the women's crews take their example from the warrior Boadicea and take their fight to the enemy? The Tideway Scullers B crew and Thames Rowing C made history as they fought it out in the inaugural outing of the Wargrave Challenge Cup for women's clubs.
And a win for Tideway Scullers School B against Thames Rowing Club C.
And Newcastle and Durham had the first heat of the Island Challenge Cup for women's students.
Durham University A crew lead Newcastle University B crew in the inaugural heat of the Island Challenge Cup.
Also flying the flag for women's rowers today, 2 well-known faces who certainly weren't making their first appearance. Silver medalists in Rio, Great Britain's Jess Eddy and Katie Greaves brought some Olympic flavour to proceedings with a powerful display against the Hinksey Sculling School. This was in the Stoner Challenge. Their victory was a relief for Katie, who'd gone so far to rearrange her wedding day to avoid a clash with Henley. That's commitment. Steering a crew at Henley is a pretty thankless task, and when it does begin to go wrong, the umpire can get involved using these and this, but there can also be questions within the crew. This is a classic example. This is TBC from the United States against Oxford Brookes in the visitors.
Looks like to me that TBC Racing could be pulling slightly ahead again. They've obviously put a push in there, but I don't think Oxford Brookes will let them get away with this.
It's going to be interesting as they come towards regatta enclosures, whether Oxford Brookes decide to turn the screw. you know, and who starts to make that kind of cadence change of going through the gears as they start to move towards the finish.
And this is again, we've seen Oxbrookes come very close to their side of the booms, which won't be comfortable. It's never comfortable if you're on that side of the boat, on the stroke side, when you feel like you're just centimetres away from those booms. They've come back to the middle, they've come much closer to TBC racing now, and you know, you can sense that finished crowd. You know this is all to play for.
And it's the overcorrection, isn't it? When you start steering, you start to think you need more than you actually do, then you overcorrect it. But you've just seen the Brooks boat do that. They came way out into the middle. Oh.
And that's the impact. That's always the risk of this course. If you get too close to those booms, then there's nothing to do but impact and you stop.
They're so unforgiving, aren't they? Once you hit them, it's solid. It's not going anywhere.
It's not going in, and you know, at this point, if you're in TBC racing, you sense that. You feel like you've probably heard that as well. You can seize the advantage. They've now pulled well clear of Brooks. It's going to be hard for Brooks to make an impact, especially they're still far too close to those booms.
And it's been a challenging race there, you know, trying to get off the booms. You know, they're made of solid oak, so they are definitely not going to go anywhere. If you hit those at speed, they can quite easily just break your blade.
Oh, I know. It's so disappointing, because it'll feel for those 4 athletes that they haven't been able to put in the full race they'd want to, because as soon as you get steering issues like that and hitting off the sides, there's no way you can fulfill your potential.
And also being so close to the finish as well, there's no way to kind of get back on track and get back in contact, even though it would have been very difficult because they were so close together.
But fair play to TBC, kept their minds on the job and delivered an outstanding race there.
So TBC crossed the line first in that heat of the Visitors Challenge Cup.
And that then seemed to set off a whole chain reaction, race after race, where the umpire had to get involved.
Go!
Squeeze off, you heard the cocks. Instructions to the crews. So make the way. There's something special about 8s going off the start.
Yes, it's a wonderful combination of noise and speed, and you get that sense of speed with the umpire's launch accelerating behind. Both crews got off well, although London just came off their station slightly, and you can see both crews quite close together there.
And that's such a challenge as the Cox, because you want the speed to get up. You don't want to disrupt it by steering, do you? But you have to maintain your side and not impact the other crew.
And it looks like London. Looks like actually it's Agecroft. Oh my goodness, there's been a clash there. Agecroft were warned there was a clash, and the London stroke man has lost his blade.
And you could just see the London stroke man telling his Cox just to move over a little bit because they were getting so close to him.
And yet actually at that point it was Agecroft who were being warned. So it's going to be interesting to see what the umpire Richard Stanhope is going to do.
It's a red flag. I'm going to disqualify Agecroft, paddle on to the start. I'll stand up in this boat and we'll proceed down onto to the finish together, okay? To the finish, okay?
So you've just heard that from the umpire, that Agecroft have been disqualified there for impeding the water of London Rowing Club.
I'm sorry about that, guys. I warned you, and then there was the clash. So I've got no option but to disqualify you. I'm terribly sorry. You can carry on to the finish, please.
So back to a boat class now of no Coxes. So it's up to the bow people of these boats to steer the boats. And you can see there's plenty of clear water between them. So a nice clean start. Oh. So that was the Craftsbury Green race. It just caught a crab. Well, blade got stuck in the water.
And the bowman has lost his left-hand scull and is struggling to get it back. And that's brought the crews together. And we have another incident-packed race.
And for me, that's an instance where you need to stop. You can't keep rowing while someone's trying to get the blade, because it will just keep spinning and then you'll end up snapping it.
See that the two-man is desperately trying to help his bowman get the left scull back into the gate.
And this, I didn't hear if the umpire stopped the racing or they're still going. I wasn't sure.
I didn't hear anything either, and the fact that they're moving.
So they've kept around. The race has not been stopped. Hinksey, Sculls School and Exeter University have kept moving away, took the advantage. So the bow person of the Craftsbury crew, just making sure he keeps the rest of the crew aware of where they are as they try to mount this comeback.
And they are closing the gap, albeit that their steering is probably costing them a little bit there. They came off the booms, but Hinksey and Exeter looking well in control.
Just keep attacking. It's impressive that they've just kept attacking all the way down all the way up the Henley course, trying to get back on terms. That'd be hugely disappointing for them, but that is a win for the Hinksey, Sculls School and Exeter University over the Craftsbury Green Racing Project from the USA in the Prince of Wales Challenge Cup.
Definitely some mixed emotions amongst the competitors tonight. Rowing at Henley can be both a cruel and a joyous experience. We'll be back tomorrow night with more highlights, definitely more racing, and hopefully more sunshine. Night night.